Will the House come to order? Mr. Clerk?
Aloha and good afternoon. Today's invocation will be delivered by Representative Daniel Holt. Will the members who wish to participate please rise?
Please stay seated. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Aloha Aina. What is it? That which we call Aloha Aina is the magnetic pull in the heart of the patriot which compels the sovereign existence of the land of his birth. Magnetism is the power which directs the needle of a compass so that it will always point directly to the North Pole of the Earth and therefore toward the North Star as well. It is impossible to see where or how this thing called magnetism is contained in the needle, and understanding the principles of its pull is a complex thing. But there is one thing that can be seen clearly. That magnetized needle continues to point unfailingly to the North Star and the Earth's North Pole. This is what the heart of a Hawaiian feels for his own native land. His aloha cannot be seen, held, or felt, but is widespread, and it points inevitably to the land of his ancestors, just like the needle of the compass. Moreover, if many compasses are laid next to each other, we will see without a doubt that every compass needle will be drawn to a point in the same direction, almost as if each encourages those around it to do so. The same is true for all races and all people who are filled with the love and loyalty for their ancestral lands. Eventually, they make it known their undying support of, unity behind, and control over their independence of their Aina Hanau. It is that aloha within, that loyalty and love, that brings people hope. Poverty, destitution, strife, and grief become nothing to them because of the love they hold for their birthland is greater than any other thing. And as for the person who lacks the feeling and characteristics of Aloha Aina, he is much like an animal or a turncoat. The status of such a man is low indeed, a man who has no aloha for his land or fails to act on its behalf. This man will cease to be thought of as having any kind of pono, and when he walks among his own people, he will only be met with scorn. So I did not write that. This article was printed in the very first issue of the Hawaiian language newspaper, Ke Aloha Aina, dated 25 May of 1895, and was written by the paper's editor, Joseph Koho'oluhi Navahi o Kalani o Pu'u. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Holt. Item 1, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Ayu, Mr. Alcos, Ms. Amato, Ms. Bellotti, Mr. Chun, Ms. Cochran,
Excuse.
Mr. Evslin, Mr. Ganadin, Mr. Garcia, Mr. Garrett, Mr. Gates, Mr. Hashem, Mr. Holt, Ms. Hussey Burdick, Ms. Ichiyama, Ms. Kahaloa, Ms. Capella, Mr. Kila, Ms. Kitagawa, Mr. Kobayashi, Mr. Kong, Ms. Lachika, Ms. Lamasau, Ms. Lowen, Ms. Martin, Ms. Martinez, Mr. Matayoshi, Ms. Matsumoto, Mr. Miyake, Ms. Mizuno, Ms. Morikawa, Ms. Nakamura, Mr. Nakashima, Mr. Nishimoto, Mr. Onishi, Ms. Peruso,
Excuse.
Mr. Pirik, Ms. Poepoe, Mr. Quinlan, Mr. Saiki, Mr. Sayama, Ms. Souza, Mr. Takeyama, Ms. Takenouchi, Mr. Tam, Mr. Tarnas, Mr. Todd, Mr. Ward, Mr. Woodson,
Excuse.
Mr. Yamashita, Mr. Speaker.
Present.
Mr. Speaker, 48 members are present, 3 are excused.
Thank you. Item 2, reading of the journal, Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, may this matter be deferred.
So ordered. Item 3, Mr. Clerk, are there any messages from the governor?
Mr. Speaker, there are none.
Item 4, Senate communications. Mr. Clerk, are there any Senate communications?
Mr. Speaker, there are none.
Members, are there any introductions? Representative Hussey Bardick.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the audience today with us, we have a bright young leader, Coda Daly. Thank you and welcome to your House of Representatives.
No further introductions. Item 5, introductions of bills. Representative Marakawa.
Mr. Speaker, I move that all bills laying on the clerk's desk pass first reading by title and be referred to print.
Representative Garcia.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. The motion is carried. Item 6, introductions of resolutions. Mr. Clerk, are there any resolutions for action?
Mr. Speaker, there are no resolutions for action. May all others be referred to print.
Item 7, announcements. Members, are there any announcements? All right, bear with me. I have a few things I have to go through. Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I move to keep the journal open until 6:00 p.m. this evening for the introduction of House bills.
Representative Garcia.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
It has been moved and seconded that the journal be kept open until 6 p.m. this evening for the introduction of House bills. Any discussions? If not, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion is carried. Members, please note that tonight's 6 p.m. deadline is firm. Again, tonight's 6 p.m. deadline is firm, and there will be no exceptions. Please make sure to give yourselves and your staff ample time to file your bills before 6 p.m. Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House stand in recess until 12:00 noon Friday.
Representative Garcia.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Any discussions? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. The motion is carried. The House stands in recess until 12 noon Friday. Recess.